Pahlavi texts, translated by E.W. West. Part 1. Bahman Yast, Sacred Books of the East, Oxford University Press, 1860. Chapter 2. In the Bahman Yast commentary, Zond, it is declared that Zarathustra acts for immortality from Uharmazd a second time, and spoke thus: I am Zarathustra, more righteous and more efficient among these my creatures, O Creator, when thou shalt make me immortal, as the tree opposed to harm. And Gopatsha, Goste, Thuryan, and Ketrok Nyan, son of Vistasp, who is Pashyotanu, were made. When thou shalt make me immortal, they in thy good religion will believe that the upholder of religion, who receives from Uharmazd his pure and good religion of the Mazdayasnians, will become immortal. Then those men will believe in thy good religion. Uharmazd spoke thus: When I shall make thee immortal, O Zarathustra, the Spitaman, then Tur-e Bradarvash, the Karap, will become immortal. And when Tur-e Bradarvash, the Karap, shall become immortal, the resurrection and future existence are not possible. Zarathustra seemed uneasy about it in his mind, and Uharmazd, through the wisdom of omniscience, knew what was thought by Zarathustra the Spitaman. With the righteous spirit, and he took hold of Zarathustra's hand, and he, Uharmazd, the perpetuous spirit, creator of the material world, the righteous one, even he put the omniscient wisdom in the shape of water on the hand of Zarathustra, and said to him thus: Devour it. And Zarathustra devoured some of it. Thereby the omniscient wisdom was intermingled with Zarathustra, and 7 days and nights Zarathustra was in the wisdom of Uharmazd. And Zarathustra beheld the men and cattle in the 7 regions of the earth, where the many fibers of hair of every one are, and whereunto the end of each fiber holds on the back. And he beheld whatever trees and shrubs there were, and how many roots of plants were in the earth of Spendermod, and where and how they had grown, and where they were mingled. And the 7th day and night he, Uharmazd, took back the omniscient wisdom from Zarathustra, and Zarathustra reflected in this way: that I have seen it in a pleasant dream produced by Uharmazd, and I am not surfeited with the dream. And he took both hands, rubbed his body, Kerp, again, and spoke: Thus I have slept a long time, and I am not surfeited with this pleasant dream produced by Uharmazd. Uharmazd said to the righteous Zarathustra thus: What was seen in the pleasant dream produced by Uharmazd? Zarathustra spoke thus: O Uharmazd, perpetuous spirit, creator of the material world, righteous creator, I have seen a celebrity, Kunid, with much wealth, whose soul, infamous in the body, was hungry, Gurs, and jaundiced, and in hell. And he did not seem to me exalted. And I saw a beggar with no wealth and helpless, and his soul was thriving, Tharpi, in paradise. And he seemed to me exalted. And I saw a wealthy man without children, and he did not seem to me exalted. And I saw a pauper with many children, and he seemed to me exalted. And I saw a tree on which were 7 branches, 1 golden, 1 of silver, 1 brazen, 1 of copper, 1 of tin, 1 of steel, and 1 was mixed up with iron. Uharmazd spoke thus: O Zarathustra the Spitaman, this is what I say beforehand. The one tree which thou sawest is the world, which I, Uharmazd, created. And those 7 branches thou sawest are the 7 periods which will come. And that which was golden is the reign of King Istasp, when I and thou converse about religion, and this Tasp shall accept that religion, and shall demolish the figures of the demons, and the demons desist from demonstration, and to concealed proceedings of Harmon, and the demons rush back to darkness and care for water. Fire, plants, and the earth of Spendarmod becomes apparent. And that which was of silver is the reign of Ardashir, the Kayan Kai, whom they call Wuhuman, son of Spendad. Who is he who separates the demons from men, scatters them about, and makes the religion current in the whole world? And that which was brazen is the reign of Ardashir, the arranger and restorer of the world, and that of King Shahpur, when he arranges the world which I, Uharmazd, created. He makes happiness, Bukataki, prevalent in the boundaries of the world, and goodness shall become manifest. And Ataropad of triumphant destiny, the restorer of the true religion, with the prepared brass, brings this religion together, with the transgressors back to the truth. And that which was of copper is the reign of the Askanian king, who removes from the world the heterodoxy, Gavid, Rastaki, which existed, and the wicked Akangar-e Kilisyaki is utterly destroyed by this religion, and goes unseen and unknown from the world. And that which was of tin is the reign of King Vahrangor, when he makes the sight of the spirit of pleasure manifest, and a harmon with the wizards rushes back to darkness and gloom. And that which was of steel is the reign of King Khusro, son of Kavad, when he keeps away from this religion the accursed Mazdik, son of Bamdad, who remains opposed to the religion, along with the heterodox. And that which was mixed with iron is the reign of the demons with disheveled hair, of the race of wrath, when it is the end of the 100th winter of thy millennium. O Zarathustra, the Spitman. Zarathustra said thus: Creator of the material world, O propitious spirit, what token would you give of the 100th winter? Uharmazd spoke thus: Righteous Zarathustra, I will make it clear, the token that it is the end of thy millennium, and the most evil period is coming, is that 100 kinds, 1,000 kinds, a myriad of kinds of demons with disheveled hair, of the race of wrath, rush into the country of Iran, Iran Shatro, from the direction of the east, which has an inferior race and race of wrath. That's what it says. I'm not saying there's such thing as an inferior race. They have uplifted banners. They slay those living in the world. They have their hair disheveled on the back. And they are mostly a small and inferior Nitum race, forward in destroying the strong doer, O Zarathustra, the Spitaman. The race of wrath is miscreated, Vishud, and its origin is not manifest. Now, one could also say that it's because the behavior or lack of belief that is resulting in this way of speaking about these people. Through witchcraft, they rush into these countries of Iran, which I, Uharmazd, created, since they burn and damage many things, and the house of the house owner, the land of the land digger, prosperity, nobility, sovereignty, religion, truth, agreement, security, enjoyment, and every characteristic which I, Uharmazd, created, this pure religion of the Mazdayasnians, and the fire of Vahram, which is set in the appointed place, encounter annihilation, and the direst destruction and trouble will come into notice. And that which is a great district will become a town, and that which a great town a village, and that which is a great village a family, and that which is a great family a single threshold, O Zarathustra, the Spitaman. They will lead these Iranian countries of O Hormazd into a desire for evil, into tyranny and misgovernment. Those demons with disheveled hair, who are deceivers, so that what they say they do not do, and they are of a vile religion, so that what they do not say they do, and their assistance and promise have no security. There is no law, they preserve no security, and on the support they provide no one relies. With deceit, rapacity, and misgovernment, they will devastate these my Iranian countries, who am a Uharmazd. And at that time, O Zarathustra the Spitaman, all men will become deceivers, great fiends will become of different parties, and respect, affection, hope, and regard for the soul will depart from the world. The affection of the father will depart from the son, and that of the brother from his brother. The son-in-law will become a beggar, Kidyak or Kasi, from his father-in-law, and the mother will be parted and estranged from the daughter. When it is the end of thy 100th winter, O Zarathustra, the Spitaman, the sun is more unseen and more spotted. Vasangtar, the year, month, and day are shorter, and the earth of Spendarmad is more barren and full of highwaymen, and the crop will not yield the seed, so that of the crop of the cornfields, in 10 cases, 7 will diminish, and 3 will increase. And that which increases does not become ripe, and vegetation, trees, and shrubs will diminish. When one shall take 190 will diminish, and 10 will increase. And that which increases gives no pleasure and flavor. And men are born smaller, and their skill and strength are less. They become more deceitful and more given to vile practices. They have no gratitude and respect for bread and salt, and they have no affection for their country. Dahsak. And in that most evil time, a boundary has most disrespect. Where it is the property of a suffering man of religion, gifts are few among their deeds, and duties and good works proceed but little from their hands, and sectarians of all kinds are seeking mischief for them. And all the world will be burying and clothing the dead, and burying the dead and washing the dead will be by law. The burning, bringing to water and fire, and eating of dead matter they practice by law, and do not abstain from. They recount largely about duties and good works, and pursue wickedness and the road to hell, and through the iniquity, cajolery, and craving of wrath and avarice they rush to hell. And in that perplexing time, O Zarathustra the Spitaman, the reign of wrath with infuriate spear, and the demon with dishevelled hair of the race of wrath, the meanest slaves walk forth with the authority of nobles of the land, and the religious who wear sacred thread girdles on the waist are then not able to perform their ablution. Padi Yavi, for in those last times dead matter and bodily refuse become so abundant that one who shall set step-to-step walks upon dead matter, or when he washes in the Barashnum ceremony and puts down a foot from the stone seat, Mug, he walks on dead matter, or when he arranges the sacred twigs, Barasom, and consecrates the sacred cakes, Drono, in their corpse chamber, Nasai Katak, it is allowable. Or in those last times, it becomes allowable to perform a ceremonial Yazisan with 2 men, so that this religion may not come to nothing and collapse. There will be only 1 in 100, and 1,000, and a myriad who believes in this religion, and even he does nothing of it, though it be a duty, and the fire of Vahram, which will come to nothing and collapse, falls off from 1,000 to 1 caretaker, and even he does not supply it properly with firewood and incense. Or when a man who has performed worship and does not know the Nirangastan code of religious formulas shall kindle it with good intentions, it is allowable. Honorable wealth will all proceed to those of perverted faith. Kavid Kashan, it comes to the transgressors and virtuous doers of good works, from the families of noblemen even unto the priest. Mog Mardan remain running about uncovered. The lower orders take in marriage the daughters of nobles, grandees and priests, and the nobles, grandees and priests come to destitution and bondage. The misfortunes of the ignoble will overtake greatness and authority, and the helpless and ignoble will come to the foremost place and advancement. The words of the upholders of religion and the seal and decision of a just judge will become the words of random speakers. Andezo Gokan among the just and even the righteous, and the words of the ignoble and slanderers, of the disreputable and mockers, and those of the diverse opinions they consider true and credible, about which they take an oath, although with falsehood, and thereby give false evidence, and speak falsely and irreverently about me, Ahura-Mazda. They who bear the title of priest and disciples wish evil concerning one another. He speaks vice, and they look upon vice, and the antagonism of a Harman and the demons is much brought on by them. Of the sin which men commit, out of 5 sins the priests and disciples commit 3 sins, and they become enemies of the good, so that they may thereby speak of bad faults relating to one another. The ceremonies they undertake they do not perform, and they have no fear of hell. And in that 100th winter, which is the end of thy millennium, O righteous Zarathustra, all mankind will bind torn hair, disregarding revelation, so that a willingly disposed cloud and a righteous wind are not able to produce rain in its proper time and season. And a dark cloud makes the whole sky night, and the hot wind and the cold wind arrive, and bring along fruit and seed of corn, even the rain in its proper time, and it does not rain. And that which rains also rains more noxious creatures than water, and the water of rivers and springs will diminish, and there will be no increase, and the beast of burden, and ox, and sheep bring forth more painfully and awkwardly, and acquire less fruitfulness, and their hair is coarser, and skin thinner, the milk does not increase, and has less cream. Carbist, and the strengthening of the laboring ox is less, and the agility of the swift horse is less, and it carries less in a race. And on the men in that perplexing time, O Zarathustra the Spitaman, who wear the sacred thread girdle on the waist, the evil-seeking, the misgovernment, and much of its false judgment have come as a wind in which their living is not possible. And they seek death as a boon, and youths and children will be apprehensive, and gossiping chit-chat, and gladness of heart do not arise among them. And they practice the appointed feasts, Gasno, of their ancestors, the propitiation, Sofried of angels, and the prayers and ceremonies of the season festivals, and guardian spirits in various places. Yet that which they practice they do not believe in unhesitatingly. They do not give rewards lawfully, and bestow no gifts and alms. Even those they bestow they repent of again. And even those men of the good religion who have reverenced the good religion of the Mazdayastians proceed in conformity with Bar Hamako, Rubisin, those ways and customs, and do not believe their own religion. And the noble, great, and charitable, who are the virtuous of their own country and locality, will depart from their own original place and family, as idolatrous. Through want, they beg something from the ignoble and vile, and come to poverty and helplessness. Through them, 9 in 10 of these men will perish in the northern quarter. Through their way of misrule, everything comes to nothingness and destitution, levity and infirmity, and the earth of Spendermod opens its mouth wide, and every jewel and metal becomes exposed, such as gold and silver, brass, tin, and lead. And rule and sovereignty come to slaves, such as the Turk and non-Turanian Atur of the army, and are turbulent as among the mountaineers, and the Kini, and the Kavuli, and the Softi, the Ruman, Arumayag, and the white-clothed Karmak, then attain sovereignty in my countries of Iran, and their will and pleasure will become current in the world. The sovereignty will come from those leathern-belted ones, and Arabs, Tezigan, and Rumans to them, and they will be so misgoverning that when they kill a righteous man who is virtuous, and a fly, it is all one in their eyes. And the security, fame, and prosperity of the country and families, the wealth and handiwork, the streams, rivers, and springs of Iran, and those of the good religion come to those non-Iranians, and the army and standards of the frontiers come to them, and a rule with craving for wrath advances in the world, and their eyes of avarice are not sated with wealth, and they form hoards of the world's wealth, and conceal them underground, and through wickedness they commit sodomy, hold much intercourse with menstruous women, and practice many unnatural lusts. And in that perplexing time the night is brighter, and the year, month, and day diminish 1/3. The earth of Spendermod arises, and suffering, death, and destitution become more severe in the world. Auharmazd said to Zarathustra the Spitamun, "This is what I foretell, that wicked, evil spirit, when it shall be necessary for him to perish, becomes more oppressive and more tyrannical." So Auharmazd spoke to Zarathustra the Spitamun thus: "Inquire fully and learn by heart. Thoroughly teach it by zond, pazand, and explanation. Tell it to the priests and disciples who speak forth in the world, and those who are not aware of the 100 winters. Tell it then to them, so that for the hope of a future existence and for the preservation of their own souls, they may remove the trouble, evil, and oppression which those of other religions cause in the ceremonies of religion. Dino Yasnan. And moreover, I tell thee this, O Zarathustra the Spitaman, that whoever in that time appeals for the body is not able to save the soul, for he is as it were fat, and his soul is hungry and lean in hell. Whoever appeals for the soul, his body is hungry and lean through the misery of the world, and destitute, and his soul is fat in heaven. Zarathustra inquired of Auharmazd thus: O Auharmazd, perpetuous spirit, creator of the material world, who art righteous, he is Auharmazd, through righteous invocation, and the rest through praise. Some say righteous creator. O creator, in that perplexing time are they righteous? And are there religious people who wear the sacred thread girdle, kustik, on the waist, and celebrate religious rites, dino, with the sacred twigs, berosom, and does the religious practice of next of kin marriage, kvetut das, continue in their families? Yeah, it really does mention the kvetut das. Auharmazd said to Zarathustra thus: Of the best men is he who, in that perplexing time, wears the sacred thread girdle on the waist, and celebrates religious rites with the sacred twigs, though not as in the reign of King Istasp. Whoever in that perplexing time recites Ita ad Yazam, Itha ad Yaza Ma'ede, in a Vestin, Yast Vand 37. Is it Yast Vand? and one Ashembohu, and has learned it by heart, as though in the reign of King Istasp it were a Devazda Homast with holy water, Zohar, and by whomever prayer is offered up and the Gatha hymns are chanted, it is as though the whole ritual had been recited, and the Gatha hymns consecrated by him in the reign of King Vistasp. The most perfectly righteous of the righteous is he who remains in the good religion of the Mazdayastians and continues the religious practice of next of kin marriage in his family. So that's why they don't like the Muslims, because the Muslims are like, yeah, none of this polyandry, none of the next of kin marriage, no forced marriage, none of the stuff that, well, not none of the stuff, those are examples of some of the stuff they would have put a stop to. Uharmaz said to the righteous Zarathustra, in these 9,000 years which I, Uharmaz, created, mankind become most perplexed in that perplexing time, for in the evil reigns of Azeh Dahak and Frasiyav of Tur, mankind in those perplexing times were living better and living more numerously, and their disturbance by Aharman and the demons was less. For in their evil reigns within the countries of Iran there were not 7 towns which were desolate, as they will be when it is the end of thy millennium, O Zarathustra the Spitaman. For all the towns of Iran will be plowed up by their horses' hooves, and their banners will reach unto Padashkvargar, and they will carry away the sovereignty of the seat of the religion I approve from there. And their destruction comes from that place, O Zarathustra the Spitaman. This is what I foretell. Whoever of those existing thus with reverence unto the good performs much worship for Auharmazd. Auharmazd, aware of it through righteousness, gives him whatsoever Auharmazd is aware of through righteousness, as remuneration and reward of duty and good works, and such members of the congregation, males and females, I reverence, and the archangels who are also male and female, they are good. Well, of course, the angels are kind of beyond gender, but, there's that way of understanding, right? And in these 64 verses, there's a lot to pick apart, so I won't go into thorough commentary, but let me just say quickly that we do the best with what we have. And if we work at it, we can accomplish a little in a difficult time, which will count as if it's a lot. And so we think of the menorah, not the Hanukkah menorah, but the other menorah of the 7. And if every sphere of the 7 connects to the other, we're looking at 21 paths, which happens to be the number that the Yazidi use. But that's, but again, this is not about the Yazidi. This is about the Mazdayastians. So they kind of reacted on exactly the same platform, you could say, but with their consciousness. And, in terms of immortality, well, immortal influence towards good and truth, that should be what one wants. And we look at these millennial reigns and stuff. Well, we saw elsewhere that when they say 1,000, it's not exact. It could be a couple thousand years. More than 2,000 years would be a zodiacal age.